So based off the weekly and daily chart pattern that I'm seeing, the SPY is setting up for an amazing trading opportunity to make money heading into the market tomorrow. I'm going to be breaking down the new pattern along with the new levels of interest where I'm planning to trade at heading into tomorrow. In terms of today, I absolutely crushed it. I ended up going 2 for 2 on my own personal trading. I'm going to be breaking down the trades that I ended up making. I did end up buying call options at the exact lows back to back on the day. I ended up buying calls during the power hour trading session at that 3:55 p.m. As soon as the SPY bottomed, the SPX calls went up 1,000%. The SPY calls went up 300%. I'm going to be breaking down the trades that I ended up making on the day using the patterns that I've been teaching you on the 30-minute candlestick chart. Let's get straight into it. So in terms of the new game plan, it is going to be short, simple, and sweet. With that being said, first things first, I'm looking at the weekly chart pattern. There is a weekly chart pattern that can potentially repeat itself. So in terms of the weekly chart, this is one of the patterns that I'm looking at, right? So you can see right here, you have this green candlestick, then you have two red candlesticks slanted to the right side, then you have this big green bullish candlestick. If you compare the look of these overall weekly candlesticks to the past 4 weeks, is very similar. You have a green weekly candlestick, then you have two red, candlesticks slanted to the right side. Then you have this big green candlestick, looks very identical, looks very similar, right? So in terms of the next week, if history repeats itself, and it is already attempting to, you can see it has a small drop below the upper part of that previous week's close of this candle right here. And then the SPY ends up going overall bullish, right? So with that being said, in terms of one thing that I want to bring awareness to is, in terms of this weekly chart pattern for this history to repeat itself and for the SPY to have an overall bullish week, we really need to maintain above this gap. We need to maintain above this overall level right here, which is going to be 595.60 to 596 zone. As long as we are holding above that zone, the SPY can potentially have an overall bullish week for new all-time highs. Now, in terms of the daily chart pattern that I'm seeing, it is also signaling more bullish opportunities to be buying the dips on calls. So in terms of the daily chart pattern that I'm seeing on the SPY, let me break this down here for you. This is going to be very simple. As you can see, in terms of what I'm looking at, right, we have this green gap up candlestick facing to the downside, and then we have this green daily candlestick facing to the upside. In terms of what happens the next day, the SPY ends up bottoming slightly above the previous day lows, and then it has a nice breakout, and then it sells off later into the day. So with that being said, you can see it's very, very similar. We have this, slanted green move to the upside. We have this slanted green move to the upside. Then we have this green daily gap up candlestick facing to the downside. Then we have this, red candle facing to the upside, right? So very similar, right? It almost ended up closing on that green mark, right? So very similar. So based off the weekly chart and based off the daily chart pattern, man, in terms of history repeating itself, this is going to be a very simple game plan. In terms of tomorrow, I'm going to be interested in buying call options at the following levels, right? So the first level that I'm going to be keeping an eye on is slightly above the previous day lows, right? So in terms of the lows, we ended up bottoming at 597. So in terms of a level of interest, I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on. It's going to be this key support right here where SPY has been bouncing throughout the past 2 days. 597.70. If we're getting green bullish 30-minute candlestick confirmations at that overall zone, I'm going to be interested in buying call options towards that 590.70. Now, the next levels below that, if the SPY is reacting bearish or if calls didn't work out towards that overall zone, right? I'm going to be interested in buying call options at the following levels. We have the gap breakdown right here at 596, right? And then we have the gap reversal level at 595.70. Throughout the past 40 days, SPY has been reversing at every single gap. For those of you who watch this channel, you are well aware of that bullish trend reversal 30-minute candlestick pattern that I've been teaching you. If you go back throughout all my videos, you're going to see me recap the trades, because in terms of a lot of the trades that I'm making, you're going to see I'm literally trading exactly what it is that I'm teaching you. You're going to see me mention this pattern all the time when I recap my trades. This is the trade that I ended up making on calls. So there was a gap to fill below on SPY at 598.19. You guys are well aware, if you've been watching this channel, the SPY has been consistently reversing on all the gaps, whether it's calls, whether it's puts, it's been working both ways for the gap reversal trading strategy, right? So if SPY gaps up, drops back down to fill the gap below, it's going to be a great opportunity to buy calls for reversal because in terms of the statistics, it's been working every single time throughout the past 40 days, capture short-term trends. That's how you make money within the market, capturing patterns, capturing short-term trends. But in terms of the confirmation, this was the confirmation. I talk about all the time on this channel. If you're seeing a key level to buy calls, which could be at the gap because it's been reversing at the gaps throughout the past 40 days, right? We had the 3 slanted red pattern, right? So once you see 3 slanted 90 minutes of red bearish 30-minute candlesticks, the next 30 minutes after that, can be a bullish 30-minute candlestick, right? But in terms of the main pattern, it was this pattern. You see me talk about this all the time. Red facing to the downside, red facing to the upside. And it was at the make or break gap reversal level, right? The SPY had a gap up, had a nice drop. Remember this level? I told you $600. Look for opportunities on puts. Red, green, red, bearish 30-minute candlestick pattern. It's sitting at resistance for hours, forming the red, green, red, forming the red, green, red. It's going to start to crash to fill the gap below, right? So the confirmation was there for put options. And in terms of calls, man, I was able to buy calls at the lows using that pattern, man. Red 30-minute candlestick facing to the downside, red 30-minute candlestick facing to the upside. Right? So when you see that pattern at a key level, this was a key level because there was a gap to fill below at 598.19, and the SPY has been consistently reversing at the gap. This was the make or break level. At first, there was no confirmation. The confirmation was when this 30-minute candlestick closed overall red, pointing to the upside, right? This is a trend reversal pattern. When you see that pattern form at a key level to be buying call options, the next 30-minute candlestick is going to be bullish. So you're going to want to be buying call options into the next 30-minute candlestick opening as it's dipping, as it's dropping, scale into calls, sell the rip, sell the breakout. It's going to try to retest the high of this wick right here. Remember that pattern. You're going to see me talking about this all the time, man. I'm telling you, if you use that pattern with the foundation at a key level, especially if it hasn't been tested for the first time at that key level, it tends to work almost every single time, man. Look at this. At 1:27 p.m., I ended up buying 598 calls at 36 cents a contract, right? So I bought these 598 calls at 36 cents a contract. And in terms of that overall trade, so I'm going to break this down here for you. So I ended up getting in as soon as that 30-minute red candlestick was about to close facing to the upside. I bought these calls right here towards the exact lows. They went from 37 cents all the way to 90 cents in just 30 minutes. That's how fucking quickly they went from 30 to 90 cents. They literally went up 200% in just 30 fucking minutes from that overall trade, right? So in terms of that overall trade, that was the first trade that I ended up making on calls. In terms of the trade before that, I had 1 trade on puts. If I would have held it, it would have been an amazing win. But I decided to get out as soon as I entered the puts. So it was just a break-even overall trade. So I basically went 2 for 2 on the day. But if you held those puts, you could have made multiple 100% profit return. So anyways, 598 calls at 36 cents a contract, right? So this was basically the first trade that I really had on the day because the trade before this, I just got out right away. It was a complete just break even. But anyways, calls up over 50%, and we started trimming when they were up 50%, and I made it very, very clear to leave runners because that 30-minute candlestick is going to try to close strong in green, right? So 11 minutes into the opening of that 30-minute candlestick, we're trimming calls. They're up 50% already, and they ended up going up 200% in the span of 30 minutes. So make sure that you save this pattern. Red facing to the downside, red facing to the upside, right? This is something that I've figured out on my own throughout watching the 10-day, 30-minute chart. I've noticed that when this pattern forms, the next 30 minutes tends to be bullish. Now, it does get more advanced than this, right? When you see this overall pattern right here, I'm not telling you to buy call options on the opening of the next 30 minutes. It's not as simple as that in terms of just trying to, play a pattern. You have to have a foundation in a sense, right? So in terms of like a foundational reason, a stack was the gap close reversal, right? So, I've been mentioning throughout this channel that there's been this short-term trend where the gap reversal strategy has been on fire. Every single time the SPY has been closing the gap, it's been reversing, right? But there was no confirmation to buy calls once the gap filled, right? This was a bearish candlestick facing to the downside. There was no reasons to be buying calls. I mean, if you look at this candlestick right here, and you look at this candlestick right here, and you look at this candlestick right here, they all look nearly fucking identical. And then you could see the SPY started to drop, SPY started to drop. So there was no reason for calls, right? But I know this is going to be a good level to play calls if there is a confirmation, man. So once we got that confirmation, facing to the downside, facing to the upside, and then 3 slanted red candles, you can see right here, 3 slanted red candles, and then it goes bullish, right? 3 slanted red candles, then it goes bullish, right? So those were all the reasonings behind call options. For those of you who watch these videos and you've been paying attention to the 10-day, 30-minute chart, you all should have been on call options. I told you that was the make or break level, but it ended up being a special level since the SPY gapped up, meaning it could potentially reverse the gap, meaning it's no longer just a make or break level. And then you can see right here, 3 slanted candlesticks facing to the down, 3 slanted red candlesticks, facing to the downside, right? On the right side, right? And then you can see right here, the pattern worked again, man. Red facing to the downside, red facing to the upside. Next 30 minutes is bullish. Buy call options towards the lows of the previous 30-minute candle. Buy call options towards the open, and scale into the dips, right? So that pattern has been working absolutely phenomenal, man. So if you're seeing a key level, a foundational reason to be buying call options when that pattern forms, you're going to want to be buying call options, scaling into call options. And then in terms of the profit target is usually where this wick is. So you're looking for this red bearish candlestick facing to the downside with this wick, and the profit target is usually right around this wick to be selling into here. But also in a sense, you're kind of just selling for a 30-minute play. You're kind of just holding it out for the entire 30 minutes, but it could have a pullback. So you're scaling out as it's spiking, right? So like a 15-minute mark on the middle of the 30-minute candlestick, if it's green and bullish, that's good confirmation to start trimming because it can, end up closing in the middle like this, and you don't want to get back all those gains, right? So we absolutely crushed it on that overall play. But in terms of the next play, you're really going to see, man, take a look at this, man. Take a look at this. This was the final trade that I ended up making on the day, man. So calls up over 100%. We absolutely crushed it on that play. We had members making 110% on that play, man. And in terms of the final trade that I ended up making on the day, right? So I basically made 2 trades on the day. The second one was right here at 3:55 p.m., man. This entire trade literally outperformed entire groups, man. Who do you know is doing this? I am buying call options at the exact lows. Look at this, man. 598 SPY calls at 25 cents. Who's in? As soon as I'm in, everyone's getting in. And you could just see right here, man, I bought this trade at the exact lows, right? And with that being said, these calls were only 25 cents a contract, right? I'm going to walk you through this. At 3:55 p.m., this was the second trade I ended up making on the day. So we go back to the 598 calls, right? So you're well aware in terms of, this overall trade. So the trade before that, I was in right here, and we were scaling out into the 60-cent range for 50% gains. We were scaling out into the rips, right? And then in terms of the second trade on the day, I ended up buying these calls back at a lower price at the exact lows. Look at this. This is 3:55 p.m. The low is 19 cents. I'm in at the exact low of this 1-minute candlestick. In 4 minutes, the calls went from 19 cents all the way to 85 cents. They went up over 300%. Who do you know on a slow overall day where many traders are just losing money, they don't know how to trade like us, is doing this, man? I'm buying calls towards the exact lows twice, back to back. They're going up 300% in 4 single minutes, man. 4 single minutes. I'm in calls right here. They go up 200% in 30 minutes. I'm in calls right here. What do I tell you about the power hour trading session? It's the most lucrative time to be trading on the overall day, man. This is when you can make the biggest percentage gains within the market just by trading that last 30-minute candlestick. This overall last play, man, literally minutes. 4 minutes. They went up 300%, man. Look at this. If you would have went with SPX, these were, if you would have went with SPX, take a look at SPX, man. Look at this. 20 cents. 20 cents. If you would have bought these SPX 6,000 strike calls, they were 20 cents. They ended up closing in the money at 220 a contract. The SPX calls went up 10 10x. They went up 1,000%. The SPY calls went up 300%, man. That's why you're always going to see us the vast majority of the time. We are going to be trading SPX during the last 30 minutes because the percentage gains are going to be a lot greater, and that's the best time to trade SPX. But in this situation, I wanted to go with SPY. You can also go with SPX as well. But yeah, man, those were the overall trades that we made on the day, man. You really got to ask yourself, who do you know is doing this, man? Who do you know is buying call options towards the exact lows, making the biggest percentage gains within the market with the highest win rate in the game doing this? So I ended up going 2 for 2. We absolutely crushed that play, man. Just within 3 minutes, they spiked 100%. If you were to hold till that final minute of that last candlestick, they went up multiple 100%. They went up 300%, man. So we had people absolutely crush it on those overall plays on calls. And those were the personal trades that I ended up making on the overall day. In terms of GROAR, he ended up making just one trade today. It was calls early into the morning, and it did not work out. But with that being said, man, as a whole, as a collective, we absolutely crushed it today, man. Like, this was truly fucking phenomenal trading, man. To be that disciplined and just trade the best setups possible, man. Like, do you understand the discipline it takes to end up buying call options towards the exact lows? I could have bought call options towards 600. You guys are well aware. I didn't want to do that. This was my bearish level. Historically, SPY likes to drop first. When it tests a whole round number for the first time, like 4, 5, 600, made that very, very clear. And there was a red, green, red pattern, red, green, red pattern. And if you just looked at the candlesticks, looked at the candlesticks, looked at the candlesticks, it was saying it was going to try to fill the overall gap below. But the main reason why I exited those puts, that was the first trade that I took on the day. I tried playing puts towards the level. The main reason why I just cut it, I didn't like how the price action was trading. I didn't want to be overall patient with it. It was more of just trying to time the move rather than overall hold it. And in that situation, it did kind of make sense for me to cut the puts because the timing was off. You know, for me to experience multiple 100% profit return on puts on that trade, the entry was okay. It's just I would have been down like 60, 70%. And I just wanted to more time it better rather than holding it. So I just got out. As soon as I got in, I didn't like the price action and I didn't like how the 30-minute chart was set up. So I just cut it very, very quickly. But if I would have held, it would have been multiple 100%. But like I said, man, we absolutely crushed it on the day, man. You're not going to find another trader out there who's doing this, man. Like, seriously, who do you know is buying these call options towards the exact lows on a very slow, choppy day? We're buying call options at the exact lows. These trades are going up the biggest percentage overall gains within the overall market, man. So that's what I ended up doing on the day. 2 for 2, 2 solid trades, the best trades you could have possibly made on call options. I ended up taking. Those are the absolute best that you could have traded on the day, man. So who the fuck do you know is printing like us at the speed of light, man? Because I'm telling you, those overall trade on calls, and for those of you who study the overall video lessons, like last night I told you the previous closing price was make or break. Obviously, if it gaps up, and you guys are well aware of the trend, that SPY's been reversing at the gaps. It could be a level for calls, but there was no confirmation until this 30-minute candlestick closed at 1 p.m. to then buy call options right here into the opening of this candlestick at 1:30 p.m. Right. So with that being at 1 p.m. So with that being said, that was the overall moves that we ended up doing on call options. We absolutely crushed it. Now, in terms of the game plan, like I said, it's just very short and simple. It's just going to be focusing on call options. So pay attention to 597.50, pay attention to 596, and pay attention to the gap at 595.6 for the gap reversal, right? As long as we are maintaining bullish 30-minute candlestick confirmations at those levels, we're going to be on track for new all-time highs. And then at some point, the SPY can potentially drop. So just be aware in terms of the potential drop that SPY can have. That's going to be tough, man. That's going to be very tough to identify. So in that situation, you're going to need like ideally 1 to 2 hours of just resistance, of just resistance forming, something like this, just hours of bearish 30-minute candlesticks forming, red, green, red patterns forming. Look for the overall patterns on the 10-day, 30-minute chart, and ideally above 602 to 604 range if you're going to try puts head into tomorrow. That's the overall game plan that I'm seeing based off the daily chart. So for those of you who are serious about trading alongside with us, it's going to be the first link down below within the description. What we are known for doing is we are known for buying cheap, far, low risk, out of money option contracts. We're known for selling them deep in the money for the biggest percentage gains. And if you want to experience this unique trade alert system that we've created, it's the first link down below within the description, right? So you're typically going to see us make trades You'll typically see GROR trading almost every single morning session. There's usually a morning trade, right? If there's no best setup, obviously we're not going to alert the trade, right? So it's a quality over quantity approach. Usually every single day, there's a couple of trades. Someday there's only one trades. But in terms of my own personal trading, you're mainly going to see them after like 11:30 a.m. towards the middle of the day, because I like to wait for the chart to actually develop. Morning trading is not my strong suit, which is completely fine. But the morning trades inside of Team Roar are fucking amazing. You're not going to find anything else like them. GROR absolutely crushes it in the morning. So in terms of my own personal trades, you'll see those usually after like 11:30 a.m. And then on power hour trading session, 3 to 4 p.m., you'll see me crushing it during power hour trading session like we did today. So there's usually a couple trades every single day, right? It averages out, I would say, to like, 2 to 4 trades per day. Some days there's only one trade. Other days there's like, 3 to 5 trades. On a crazy day, it could be like 5 to 7 trades. With that being said, we have the highest win rate in the game doing this. And we buy cheap, far low risk out of money option contracts. We sell them deep in the money for the biggest percentage gains. And it's just very simple, man. In terms of like some of the background to the system, the contracts are so cheap, so low risk. We're talking about literally putting in, on this situation right here, right? On SPX, literally putting in, you could have put in 20 cents, $20 a contract to make $200, a 10x return, a 1000% return in literally just 4 minutes. Like I said, man, trading during this session is going to give you the highest risk to reward ratio. So what we're doing is we have the highest win rate in the game doing this, by the way. And we are entering the trades that have the highest risk to reward ratios, right? And in terms of another cutting edge part about this is, you can just hold the trades. Like I entered these puts earlier into the day. If I would have held them, I would have been down like 70%. But if I were to just hold them throughout the entire day, I would have been up 100% plus, even though I didn't time it the best and the entry wasn't the best, right? So they can come back to life. In my experience, when we enter a play and it drops 50%, and instead of selling, cutting the loss, and we hold it, it tends to come back to life 70% of the time, right? So buying far the money options allows you to take small position sizes, small enough where you can put in your entire max risk per trade as your entire position size, right? So if you're putting in your entire position size as your max risk per trade, that's a small amount of money, right? You're risking, but you're able to make good dollar gains and also good percentage gains because the percentage returns are so large. We're talking 100%. We're talking multiple 100%. We're talking thousands of percent. These are the biggest percentage gainers within the overall market, and we have the highest win rate in the game doing this. Not that we need it, man, because the percentage gains are so fucking big. You don't need a high win rate doing this overall system, right? But we do have a high win rate. That's just the icing on the cake, and that's just part of being the best in the game. But like I said, man, that's just some of the basics. And in terms of stop losses, we don't set stop losses. There's no need for us to set a stop loss because our entire position size is the max risk per trade. So we can just sell the move if we don't want to hold it and we're like, down 30, 50%. If we want, we could just cut it, sell the move. Sometimes we do that. And then there's other times where we just hold the trade, and 70% of the time we choose to hold that trade when we're down, 50%. It comes back to life and it goes in the money, and we can sell the money for profits. Now, with that being said, in terms of adding, we do add to winners. We try our best to avoid adding to losers. What tends to work best for us is adding to winners. When we're up a little bit, we like to add to winner, set the profit stop. Setting a profit stop ensures that you do not go green to red on an overall trade. It ensures that it's impossible to go green to red, right? And then in terms of moving the profit stop up, we move the profit stop higher to ensure that we don't get back the bulk of our gains as the trade is working within our overall favor. So with that being said, that's some of the basics to this overall alert system that we've created. For those of you who are serious about experiencing this and trading alongside us within real time, it's the first link down below within the description. We have many members who are making $500 a day. We have some members who are making $1,000 a day. We have some members who are making over $10,000 a week. And we have 2 members who are making 6 figures a month trading options. So if you're serious about trading alongside with us, it's going to be the first link down below within the description, man. I'm telling you, if you want to learn how to trade, you got to trade. That's the only way, man. You got to actually trade. And trading alongside us, you're really going to start to learn how to trade. For those of you who watch the videos from start to finish, everyone should have known why I was in call options. If you've been watching the content, you should have been in on call options on the opening of this 30-minute candlestick. You should have been in on call options right here in the opening of this 30-minute candlestick with that expectation that's going to be bullish and try to close strong in the green, right? It was just so simple. 3 slanted red, 3 slanted red, gap, reversal, right? And then red facing to the down, red facing to the up, right? It's just so simple. If you just looked at the 10-day overall 30-minute chart, that pattern has been printing nonstop, man. Look at this. Red candlestick facing to the downside, red candlestick facing to the upside. Have you guys been capturing this? Literally, I would say throughout the past fucking month, I've traded this pattern successfully at least fucking 4 times. Like, have you been capturing this? Right? And you can use foundations. Don't just trade a pattern, right? This is a trend reversal pattern where the next 30 minutes can be bullish, but don't just buy fucking calls. Look for more reasons. Have a foundation. The key level was the gap, a gap close reversal, right? That was the main reason in terms of the foundation. But if you just look at this, man, 3 slanted red, and then look, it's the same fucking pattern. Like, this is just so fucking simple. I would hope for those of you who watch my content, man, you were in on call options and you absolutely killed it on that play. You should have made at least a 50% return buying those call options. That was the play of the day. You see how much patience you have to trade the best setups at the best prices. You know, you have to know what the setup looks like. You have to know the levels. We knew 598 was a level, but in terms of the next day, it became a better level because the SPY gapped up and it's been reversing at the gaps. Short-term trend, right? 3 slanted to the red, 3 slanted to the red. And then you have the red candlestick facing to the downside, red candlestick facing to the upside, buy call options. Like, dude, everybody should have been in on call options. There is no excuse. Being red, losing, that's a fucking choice, man. You see how trading is? It's so simple. It's just so simple if you wait. You see how simple it is when you wait for traps to get created? Okay, the $600 level, I told you it's likely going to crash there. It ends up selling off. Okay, so the bears are trying to take control. SPY's forming lower highs. If you look at the 1-minute chart, previous support right here is turning into new resistance. It's forming lower highs, right? There was support on the 1 minute for a couple minutes right here. The SPY just cracked through, spiked back up. Previous support reacts as resistance, starts to drop. There's this gap to fill below. It keeps on trying to fill the gap. Bearish patterns. It's been sitting at resistance for fucking 2.5 hours. Red, green, red, bearish patterns. And then if you look at this red candlestick right here, this red candlestick right here, this red candlestick right here, tends to drop. All reasons to buy puts, all reasons to play for a gap to fill below play, right? But in terms of that main play for calls, it was just so simple. The gap reversal trading strategy. Key support right here has not been tested. It could potentially bounce first at this wick at 597.50. Red to the downside, red to the upside, 3 slanted triple red. It's like, dude, if you're studying the 10-day, 30-minute chart and you're just waiting for the levels and you're waiting for these 30-minute candlesticks to close, you should be going green nearly every single day. You just have to be disciplined. You have to know what to look for, know the levels, know the foundation, know the confirmations, know the 30-minute candles. It's a game of discipline, man. You have to be disciplined. You have to be self-controlled. You got to be extremely patient. Look, I made 2 trades on the overall day. 2 trades. Both of those trades were calls at the exact lows. Do you know how much experience and patience and discipline that fucking takes? Go back to my content in terms of like 2 years ago. I wasn't doing any of that. This took for fucking ever to fucking figure out. But once you figure it out, you just scale with it and it just keeps on fucking climbing higher. I'm telling you, man, once you got it down, this is literally becomes a game of patience. Once you have a system that works, it's literally just patience, discipline, self-control. We've got it, man. We've got the fucking system. So if you want to learn how to trade, you can trade alongside us and you can experience the trades in real fucking time. I'm literally trading what it is that I'm teaching you. You're going to see this pattern right here every single fucking month. This pattern is going to happen and I'm going to keep on using this overall pattern. I'm going to keep on trading exactly what it is that I'm teaching you. And in terms of what it is that I'm teaching you, this is how I trade. This is the method that I've created. This is the system that I've created. This is how I look at the 10-day, 30-minute chart. I'm trading the overall chart. And again, I'm not telling you to just blindly buy calls when you see this pattern. Look for a foundation. The foundation was there's strong support that has not been tested. If there's strong support that has not been tested, it could potentially bounce first. The foundation was the gap reversal. The pattern was 3, and it's been reversing at the gap throughout the past 40 days. And the pattern was 3 slanted red, right? 90 minutes downside, red facing to the downside, red facing to the upside. And if you just study how well the SPY has been, like, oh my gosh, dude, it just keeps on fucking working, man. Like, even when there is no foundational reason or there's no fucking key levels, it just keeps on fucking working. Like, look at this. Do you see how many times it works? So if you want to make money, I'm giving you free fucking money. I'm literally making it your fucking choice. Like, there's no excuses. For those of you who actually want to experience and join the program, I'm literally showing you how to make money first. If you can't make money with what it is that I'm teaching you, don't fucking join the group. All right? We're looking for people who are self-sufficient, who are actually making money using what it is that I'm teaching you. This is exactly how I trade. I can assure you it works, but you got to implement. I cannot click the buy and sell button for you. You got to do it for yourself, right? So I'm giving you the opportunities to become self-sufficient, and I'm giving you the opportunities to make money before you join the group. And then if you would like, you can join the group, man. So experiment with what it is that I'm teaching you. It's like, oh my gosh, dude, do you see how many fucking times this pattern is working, man? Like, look at this. You understand? If you go back and watch all these fucking videos, all you're going to see is me capturing the same exact pattern. So here's the deal. It's going to keep on fucking working. I'm the one who creates all this, so I'm going to be able to trade it to the best of its abilities. And like I said, it's not just the pattern. There's foundational reasons. Sometimes the pattern's not going to work. And if it doesn't work, it's very likely that there was no foundational reason to get in, and it was just the overall pattern. Like I said, the foundational reason to get in, strong support has not been tested, could potentially bounce first. Gap that has not been tested could potentially reverse gap reversal, right? And the stock was there, man. You had the 90-minute slanted red, 90-minute slanted red. So when I'm looking at these patterns, I'm always making sure that the same patterns have been repeating itself in a very short-term cycle. So ideally within the past like 10 to 20 days, right? So if this pattern did not occur if throughout like months, I would be less hesitant to buy calls. When I'm capturing patterns, I like to capture short-term patterns that are working. I don't like to sit here and say that, okay, there's this pattern and then it doesn't show up for months. And then when it shows up, I'm going to get on that pattern. I'm more of just analyzing the 10-day, 30-minute chart in capturing short-term trends. And this pattern has been on absolutely fucking fire, man. If you just look at how many times it's been working throughout the past 10 days, and it's like, how many times have you captured this, man? Because this is a money print and overall situation, man. And that's what we do. We capture trends. We milk these trends to the fucking dime, man. And we're buying these calls towards the exact lows. So look, man, if you want to experience something real, if you want to experience something that works, it's the first link down below within the description. We're going to be trading at the speed of fucking light nonstop throughout this entire week, man. I'm telling you, throughout these volatile times, man, this is the best time to get in and start trading alongside with us, right? You're going to learn how to trade just by trading alongside with us. You're going to see me executing everything it is that I'm teaching you. You're going to see me do it in real time. I know exactly what to look for. I have the self-control. I have the discipline. I have the patience. I just wait. And I'm not just waiting for the patterns to form. I have the levels. I have the stocks. I know the fucking levels, man. I use the levels. I use the patterns. It works. This is a systematic approach to trading that works. You think this is luck or by accident that I buy call options on the day 2 for 2 back to back at the exact fucking lows? You think that's by accident? Do you know how much discipline it takes within the market to be able to pull that off, man? So like I said, man, in terms of these trades, you're not going to see anybody else out there that's literally doing this, man, unless they learned it from me. But I don't think they're going to be able to do it to my ability, because like I said, I'm the one who creates this. If you create it, you're going to be the best at doing it, man. I have the most experience in doing this. I'm literally creating this. This is how I see the overall market. So if you're serious about making money, it's the first link down below with the description. All we do is print at the speed of fucking light, man. I'm telling you, this system works, and we print at the speed of light, and it's just nonstop fucking printing, man. If you want to experience something real, where you're going to join this group and you're going to see, oh my gosh, these trades, they print nonstop. These are the best trades I've ever experienced. Like I said, man, name another trader who did this. Who do you know bought call options today back to back at the exact lows twice in a row? Who the fuck do you know is doing that, man? So it's the first link down below within the description. If you're serious about trading alongside with us, I can assure you these are the best trades you're ever going to experience within the overall market. I will see you guys tomorrow within the overall chat.